Hello, so today we're going to be doing a new lesson. It's going to be dividing a whole number by a fraction. But first, I did want to go over a problem that I saw some people were a little confused on. It was number 8 on page 273, multiplying two fractions. If you ever have a number and it's like 13 times 1 over 5, okay, so remember that you're going to put 13 over 1. Then you have your times 1 over 5, okay? So you can't really do a trick here because there's no number that goes into either of these. So 13 times 1 would be 13, and then 1 times 5 would be 5. So a lot of you left it at this, but you can't do it that way because you have to make it into a mixed number, okay? So if you remember, when you do the mixed numbers, okay, 5 will go into 13 twice. That would be your whole number, okay? Then you'd have your remainder, which would be your numerator, and then your denominator stays the same, okay? So this would be your answer here. All right, so if you ever get an improper fraction, make sure that you continue going on too. I also saw a lot of you were forgetting to put in simplest form. Please make sure you're putting in simplest form because it would be wrong on the test if you don't. Okay, so if it's something like number 7 that I think I went over yesterday, but let's see. Actually, we'll do number 16 because that was one of your homework problems. So if you have 7 over 8 times 2 over 3, a lot of you did this. You did 7 times 2 is 14, and 8 times 3 is 24. And then you left that as your answer. So again, this is why I really like this way, and I think for those of you that keep forgetting to reduce, I think it would be beneficial to try it this way. But if you reduce before you get here, then you don't forget to reduce, okay? So again, there's nothing that can go into 7 and 3, but 2 can actually go into 8 and 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So your answer would be 7 over 12, okay? So this would be simplest form. So if the directions even on your test or your homework say, please answer in simplest form, this would be wrong because it's not in simplest form. You'd have to keep on going and make sure that you reduced enough, okay? So just some things that I noticed from your homework yesterday. All right, so this is actually one of my favorite chapters of the year, and it has one big rule, okay? So I'm just gonna kind of get started with the examples. So when you have a division problem like this, okay, so we're gonna line it up. Okay, so we have 4 over 1 divided by 1 over 2. Okay, so the big rule that we have here is you cannot divide with these fractions. You have to figure out a way to get it to multiply. So, number 1 rule, you have to flip the second number and multiply. So I actually always did this in class, but I'd be like, flip the second number and multiply. And I would always have the kids do that in class, but that way you can solve the problem, okay? So the first number is going to stay exactly the same, okay? You're going to flip the second number and multiply, all right? It is a huge, important rule. It's the only rule with division, because if you don't flip that number, you're not going to get the right answer, because if you were to just solve it like it is, you get 4 over 2, and you get 2 as your answer. Okay, so here, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 over 1, which is the same as saying 8. Okay, So that is the big rule right here, flipping that second number and multiplying. All right. So I'm going to put that even right here so you see it. So in division, you must flip the second number and multiply. Okay. Huge rule there. All right. So let's try another. I'm doing some of the problems on page 276, which I might be doing some of your homework. So I still want you to do them on your homework, but you should totally get them correct. All right, so let's do number 9. We have 8 divided by 1/4. Okay. Okay, so again, we're going to write it down here. We have 8 over 1. And we have to flip the second number and multiply. Okay. So our answer would be 32 over 1 or 32. Okay. So big thing there, again, flipping that second number and multiplying. All right. So I just did a couple examples on 276. I'm going to do a couple more on this worksheet here. So let's see. We're going to do 8 divided by 2/8. 8 divided by 2/8. Okay. So again, we have 8 over 1. Okay. You must flip the second number and multiply. Okay, so flip the second number and multiply. Now here, we actually can do this again 2 ways. So now that we're multiplying, you can do 64 on the top over 2 and then reduce it. Or you can use the trick. 2 goes into both 4 and 8. So 8 divided by 2 would be 4. 2 divided by 2 would be 1. So our answer here would be 32 over 1 or 32. Okay, that would be our answer here. All right, let's do a couple more examples. We have 40 divided by 1/5. Okay, so we're going to have 40 over 1. We have to flip the second number and multiply. All right, flip the second number and multiply. So here, 40 times 5. So remember our trick, if you do 5 times 4, it's 20, and then you have a 1, 0. Okay, so your answer would be 200. Okay, so again, very, very important. It's that extra step there, and you haven't done this in 4th grade, so this is like the brand new like 5th grade thing. And it's really important to know how to do this because in the next couple chapters we're going to be doing regular fractions and we actually get into mixed numbers. Okay, so let's see, let's try this one. 14 divided by 5/6. Okay, 14 divided by 5/6. So here we have 14 over 1. We're going to flip the second number and multiply. Okay, so we have 6 over 5. All right, so one thing that they also mention in this chapter is a reciprocal. Okay, so if you have a reciprocal, it just means the opposite. All right, so reciprocal would be like, if they said, give me the reciprocal of 2 over 6, the reciprocal would be 6 over 2. Okay, so here we are using the reciprocals. All right, so here, let's use another color. Okay, we're multiplying. So we have 14 times 6, which would be 84. And then we have 84 over 5. Now here we have to see how many times 5 can go in to 84. So you might have to even, I mean, if I did it, I would probably have to come down here too. So 5 goes into 84. Let's see. Pencil. Okay, so then you have 30. Oh, I'm running out of room. My remainder would be 4 though. Okay, so that means my answer would be 16. Okay, is my whole number. 4 as the numerator because that's my remainder, and then the 5 would stay the same. Okay, oh, that's big. So that would be my number. Okay, so sometimes you work with different ones. So again, I want to really point out this here. The vocab word here, when you're flipping the number, is called a reciprocal. Okay, and I think they mention it in here as well. I know they mention it on your test. So I'm going to kind of use that as my guide. So let's see, 12 divided by, we'll do one more. 12 divided by 1/3. Okay, so again, I'm going to do 12 over 1. We have to flip the second number and multiply. So again, this is called the reciprocal. Okay, so flipping that second number and then multiplying. All right, so your answer would be 36 over 1 or 36. Okay. Now again, it's really important because if you were to just solve this problem and put 12 over 1 and then solve here, you would get 12 over 3, and then you would get 4 if you just decided to just do the same thing as multiplying. So this would not be right. Okay, so notice 36 is completely different than 4. So please take your time. This is that big step that you really want to make sure that you're doing, is following and getting the reciprocal of that number. All right, and if you have any questions, reach out to Mrs. Barron or I, and we can definitely go over them with you too. Okay? All right. Well, have a great day, guys. See you later.